Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I like to give all praise, honor, and glory due to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rahachach Wadash. Double honors unto the elders and apostles of GMS Great Millstone, who rule well and who taught me this truth in all righteousness, truth, and sincerity. Shalom, shalom. All right, shalom, to the hopeful elect out there, starting with the 144,000 and the men, women, and children, all right, who consist of the elect. Shalom, shalom. And here I got an article that I came across here, from the People's Voice. And it states here George Soros is planning summer of deadly riots ahead of 2024. All right. And, we know that, through documentation, George Soros, funded, the whole BLM movement. All right. And, that George Soros, be funding, different, be funding like, this different, what do you call those things? Salakia. Oh, I'm having a brain fart. I just got off from work right now. How he funds these protests and things like that. All right. So, that's nothing new under the sun, about George Soros, man. He funds, these different protests and these things like that. Like this recent one that he funded, with the Palestinians and, the Israelis, how he's funding those, those protests, and they end up turning violent. Okay, so, we could look forward to more of those things happening here in 2024. Ahead of the 2024 election. All right, we could expect, major violence. We could expect, major things, to kick off. All right, so I'm just gonna read this right here. I'm not gonna read the whole thing. I'm just gonna read what I got highlighted in blue, get into some scriptures, and then we'll close out. So it says George Soros is planning summer of deadly riots ahead of 2024. It says George Soros is planning a summer of deadly riots across the United States in the lead up to the 2024 presidential election, according to reports. And I remember I can't remember the lady's name, but I remember a lady. They interviewed this lady, and she was talking about how there might not be a 2024 election. Because how things are going to get out of control. Because of riots are going to take place, and a bunch of violence. So this could very well be it right here. This could be that time. And that time is Jacob's trouble. All right, it could fastly be approaching. All right. It says let me start over. George Soros is planning a summer of deadly riots across the United States in a lead up to the 2024 presidential election, according to reports. You see, and it's across the United States. You see, so to me, that sounds like Jacob's trouble, man. All right. It says experts have pointed out that the resurgence of public protest. All right, I believe resurgence gets into like an increase or occurrence of public protest is supported of Hamas has revealed a startling truth. The far left rioting following George Floyd's death in 2020. All right, because you remember, when George Floyd got killed. All right, they what's his name by that Edomite police officer. He just recently he got I read that he got stabbed. All right, in prison. But that was funded by George Soros. George Soros, he funded that, that riot, that took place. All right, which it brought a lot of confusion and a lot of division. All right, but the Lord said, in the scriptures, the scriptures say that I come not, to bring peace, but I come to bring division. All right, so this is that was a time, of violence and not peace. All right, and this is what this article is stating. Is that George Soros is trying to bring bring it back again. All right, but this time it's going to be uptick. It's going to be even more. It's going to be worse than it was in 2020. It says George Floyd's death in 2020 was not an anomaly, but a tactic that activist groups funded by the likes of Soros can repurpose for any cause. Ooh, you see? So George Soros is funding these things, man. All right, causing order out of chaos. All right, causing chaos. All right. It says the cityjournal.org reports conservative leaders must prepare for the for the prospect to prevent 2020 from repeating itself in 2024. Conservatives conservatives need to consider what might spark a riot, how it can be prevented, and how to understand and manage the politics of rioting. All right, so in other words, this they're how to understand and manage. So first and foremost, you see, like, when these things, pop off, Jacob's trouble, pops off. All right. They're going to bring forth that martial law. That's first and foremost. All right. And when they bring in that martial law, it's going to, they're going to bring forth these, what is it called? They're called UN military peacekeepers. All right. Which, I've seen videos on them, and they're already here. All right. People from the European Union, you got all these troops, especially these troops that are flooding in through the borders of Babylon. All right. So you got all these UN troops and things like that. So that's going to be one of the methods that they're going to use to manage and control, these riots, you see. And I actually looked up a UN military peacekeeper, right? It says, what do UN peacekeepers do? It says peacekeepers protect civilians, actively prevent conflict, reduce violence, strengthen security, and empower national authorities. You see, national authorities to assume these responsibilities. This requires a coherent security and peace building strategy that supports political strategy. All right. So, these UN troops, they're not going to have any pity. They're not going to have any type of pity at all, because they have no connection, with Babylon the Great. You see, and so that's just going to make that's going to allow them to be even more violent. You see, towards Babylon the Great, because these other nations, they already have a hatred towards Babylon the Great. You see, and so if this is the case, with George Soros, funding, these riots, over the summer, leading up to the election, all right, things are gonna things are gonna get very, very, very violent. Things are gonna get things are gonna get crazy. All right, things are gonna get crazy. All right, so we gotta be, circumspect. Pay attention to the times that we're in, because Jacob's trouble is fastly approaching, and we are, we're close, man. We're close. All right. So let's get the book of Jeremiah. Let's start off with that. Let's get the book of Jeremiah. (30:7), verse 7. Actually, we should start at 5. Let's start at 5. Salakia. It says, "For thus said the Lord, we have heard a voice of trembling of fear, and not of peace." Okay, because like I said before, the scripture says, the Lord comes not, the Lord is coming, roughly paraphrasing, the Lord is not coming to bring peace, but bring division. All right. So that's what's going to take place. It says, "Ask ye now and see whether a man doth travail with a child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins as a woman in travail, and all the faces turn into paleness." All right, because that's how bad things are going to get, man. Things are going to get so bad, you're going to have men, terrified. You're going to have men, so scared, they're going to be holding on to their loins, man. Like, like a pregnant woman. It says, "At last, for this day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it." All right, and who is that he? The elect. All right, that's what it's only about. It's only about the elect. All right. So Jacob's trouble, is going to be a time, for 2/3 of our people. All right. I think it's according to the book of what is it? Zechariah. Is it Zechariah 13:8? I believe. Salaki. I might be wrong on that, but 2/3 of our people, are going to get caught up, in these riots, in these race wars and things like that. All right. 2/3 of our people are going to get caught up in that. All right. And that's going to be, a time, where the Lord is going to bring that mass judgment. All right. Bring mass judgment, unto 2/3 of our people, that chose not, to turn away from their ways and chose to turn away, from doing wickedness, man. All right. Let's get the book of Matthew. Let's get the book of Matthew. 24 in verse 21. It says, "For then shall great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, nor ever shall be." All right, so it's going to be, a time that's, it's going to be a time like no other time, since the beginning. All right, since the beginning of the world. All right, and it's going to be such a violent, a violent, uh, it's going to be a really violent time, man. It's going to be a real violent, judgmental time, man, that the Lord is about to bring upon, Babylon the Great. All right. The Lord is going to be casting out judgments left and right, man. 2/3 of our people, the heathens are going to get destroyed, so, this devil's about to come down having great wrath, according, to the book of Revelations 12:12, man. All right. And I believe in the book of Revelations 12:17, man, he's going to wage war, with the saints, man. All right. With the Israelites, in that time of Jacob's trouble. It says, "And except those days shall be shortened." It says, "There shall no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened." You see, for the elect's sake, because that's all it's about. It's only about the elect. Only the elect will be saved out of it. So that's who that he was talking about in the book of Jeremiah 30 and verse 7. All right. So let's get the book of Revelations. Get the book of Revelation 6 and 4. It says, "And there went out another horse that was red." All right. And horse represents power. All right. And the red, represents, Esau, Edom. And it says, "And power was given to him that thereon to take peace from the earth." You see? "And that they should kill one another, and there was given to them great swords." You see? And we read the book of Genesis. We know Esau was, blessed, with the gift of the sword. All right. And the modern day sword today, is guns, the military, tanks, all kinds of these things, warships, it just, Esau was blessed with the sword, man. These AI robots that Esau's coming out with. All right. So, Jacob's trouble is going to be, one hell of a time, man, because Esau got a lot of shit ready for Jake, man. Got a lot of shit ready for Jake, man. They got these AI robots, that are, autonomously, ready to, unalive Jake, man. You see? And, when they bring in these martial laws and they bring in these UN military peacekeepers, they're going to use, these AI robots too, man. All right. They're going to use these AI robots, up on Jake, man. But the Lord is going to use, those weapons of destruction, from Esau, Edom, that great sword, to bring judgment, on to Jake, man. All right. So that's the times that we're coming in, man. We're coming in the times where, it's going to be, riots, people, killing each other, unaliving each other, race wars, civil wars. It's going to be, all these things are going to start taking place here in Babylon the Great, man. That's why it said in the book of Matthew, man, it's going to be a tribulation, a time like no other since the beginning, man. All right. It's going to be a time like no other since the beginning. Let's get the book of Isaiah. Book of Isaiah. Uh, 19 in verse 2. See here? It says, "And I will set Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight every one against his brother, and every one against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom." All right, and that's what's happening. Right now. You see, but it's on a smaller scale. But this is, as we read, in that article, George Soros is planning to have this happen, all across the United States. You see. So that's how bad things are going to get, in Jacob's trouble, man. It's going to happen all across the United States. All right. I believe if you get this in the NOT, I think it's the NOT, I believe, it basically says, Isaiah 19:2, there will be race wars, civil wars, kingdom against kingdom. It breaks it down a little bit more, but and Egyptian versus Egyptian, it's the Edomites, and all the heathens, going up against each other, man. In these last days, man. All right, so we're in those times, man, where things are gonna, start picking up. All right, let's get the book of Second Esdras. Let's get 14, and we'll get 16. It says, "For yet greater evils than those which thou hast seen happen shall be done hereafter." All right, so we're in a time, when greater evils are going to come upon this place. More violence is going to start happening. All right, you're going to start seeing, a lot of Jakes, getting judged, getting offed. All right. It says, "For look how much the world shall be weathered through age, so much more shall evils increase upon that dwell therein." All right, so that's what we can expect, man. We can expect more evils to dwell, to increase, in these times that we're in. All right, we're in the end. All right, we're in the end where Yahweh Bashim Shai is getting ready, to bring, mass judgment, bring major violence. All right. We're gonna have to, get our minds right, for the things that we're about to see, in these times, man. That Yahweh Bashim Shai is gonna bring forth on this earth, man. All right. This devil, man, he's getting ready to, he got a short time, man. He's got a short time, and he's getting ready to come down, having great wrath, man. All right, so, we gotta. We got to get our minds right. We got to get our house in order, man, because, when these times come, we're gonna have to be prepared. We're gonna have to be prepared. By calling on the names of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, man. All right. Let's finish off with this Second Esdras, verse 15. We'll go to 14. It says, "Woe to them." It says, "Woe to the world and them that dwell therein." All right. Woe meaning destruction. All right. To them that dwell therein. All right. "For the sword of the destruction draweth nigh. And one people shall stand up and fight another, and swords with their hands. All right. And we just read that. You see, we read that in, in Revelations. All right. Isaiah 19:2. All right. And that's going into these race wars and these riots, man. All right. It's about to get real out here, man. It's about to get real. It's about to get real violent. It's about to get real ugly out here, man. It says, "For there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard the kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power." All right. So it's going to get that bad, man, to where, you know, even the authority, is not going to be able to stop the people, man. All right. The people are not going to, they're not going to, listen or regard, the politicians or the authority, the militaries, so, it's going to get so bad, the people, they're going to end up they're going to fight back, and that's when a lot of people are going to get judged, for fighting back, man. That's when a lot of people is going to get judged, man. That's going to be, Jacob's trouble is going to be a time of great judgment, man, coming upon, our people, man. All right. Because scripture says that, judgment must begin in the house of God, man, in the house of Israel, man. That's where judgment is going to start. All right. It's going to start, in the house of Israel, man. It says, "Any man shall desire to go into city and shall not be able." All right. So the time's going to get bad, man, to where, people won't even be able to travel. People won't be able to go from city to city, especially, if they're explaining it to where it's going to happen all over the United States. All right. So, great judgment and great persecution is coming. It's coming here, man. The Babylon the Great, man. 2024 is going to be, it's going to be a interesting year. All right. And hey, man, like the brothers say, man, bring it on, bring it, Esau. All right. Bring it. All right, man. We're in exciting times, man. We're in exciting times, but, we're in real serious times as well, man. All right. So, with that being said, I would like to give our praise, honor, and glory due to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors into the elders and apostles of GMS, the Great Millstone, once again, who rule well and who taught me this truth, righteousness, truth, and sincerity. All right, shalom shalom to the 144,000. All right, hopeful elect out there, including the men, women, and children. And this until the next lesson. This is Brother Nabala. Shalom, shalom.